Hi everyone, and thank you for purchasing the Product Ingredients Shopify section by qwiqode. In this video, I'll be showing you how to actually use it. So if you haven't installed it yet, please refer to the separate video included in the package, and you also have access to PDF with instructions. So to get started, head over to your theme editor and add and navigate to the page you want to add the section to. Over on the left, click on Add Section and search for the section Product Ingredients. All right. So over on the left here is where we add all sorts of like the different category titles and the ingredients and basically just all of the content. And over on the right, we have all the settings, the styling settings for the most part. So we'll first start by adding content. So let's say in the first one, we'll put in active ingredients. There we go. Now here we have an option to add an icon. We'll get to that a little bit later, but you can always add an icon to appear right above the title if you'd like. Next, we have an ingredient title. So let's just put in something like this. Oops. Of some face care or some skincare product. And then we'll put in some text for the tooltip. Put that in, don't have to put in the commas. Let's just add in 3 for the sake of seeing how it works. There we go. And you have options to add in more, of course, more ingredients, another category. So let's just add in another category so we can see the difference. We'll call this one inactive ingredients. And let's just put in just 2 default ingredients. And then we also have an option for a text block, which will basically be just another paragraph. Let's say you want to put in, side effects or whatever other ingredients, let's say, whatever you'd like. And then you can put in just a bunch of text here. Oops. There we go. You have another option here we'll get to later, exclude from group, but we'll get to that option a little bit later. So we have the content in. Now let's click on the main setting, this section, and then over on the right, we'll start adding in all sorts of the styling settings. So section title, which is this one right over here, you can put in whatever you'd like, of course. HTML element, this is good for there are 2 benefits for having the option to choose this. One is for search engines, as search engines tend to rank the different headings on your page like by importance. So you're actually telling the search engine what's an important headline and what's not. And obviously the first one, H1, would be, let's say, the most important. And you're recommended to only put one of those on a page. And then you go down the list. So for sections, we usually recommend using H2, but you could do, whatever you want. The other benefit is that you can choose, is that these H2s, they already have styling settings attributed to them from your theme. So if you choose, H3, you could see the font changes because my theme has a smaller font for H3, and some of them maybe have a different color, or a different font, or a different weight, and so on. So those are the 2 benefits that you can use this to change. Next, we have an inside or outside of the wrapper. We'll get to when you select a background color, let's just set background color like this, you can choose to have it inside or outside, like that. We'll just keep it inside, but we're going to remove this section background. Well, let's put it outside, actually. There we go. Next, we have an option to put in a section image on the left or on the right. So if we go into here and let's select this image, as you can see, we can have an image block that appears there, and later we have some options to set that up. So we'll leave that for now. Section width, we have two options, regular or full width. Full width where it extends to the very edge, and as you can see with full width, we cannot put this above. There's a limitation where we cannot put the title outside of it, so it has to be within this section. But this, you can see the background extends to the very edges of the browser. But we'll keep it at regular. I think most of the time you'll want to be using regular. Content max width, this actually controls the maximum width of the element. So if you can make it smaller or larger. Let's just keep it something around there. Next, we have background color. So as you saw before, we put in this background color, but you can also choose to have a background gradient. So if we choose gradient, and then we can go in here and set up a gradient. I'll get some colors already we have ready to go. And then you select here. All right. And then, of course, you can change the angle, something like that. Okay. And that overrides, of course, we have that, so we don't have a smooth, a regular solid color. We have the gradient. Next, we have margin top and bottom. So margin is the space above and below or outside of the section. So you can add more space above here, and if you want more space below other sections or the bottom of the page itself, you can set that up. Horizontal padding. Padding is the space within the section, so we can make that bigger, and you can see there's more padding here and here. Here you don't see it as well, but the text stops right over there. So we can put that at 25, and then padding top, 25, padding bottom, 25. There we go. Next, we can give a border radius, so basically giving rounding the corners. So let's put that at 20. We have these same settings for mobile. So sometimes if you're in the mobile view, you want to have some different values for the padding and the margins and everything. So we have that option to do that as well. In different border radiuses, etc. Next, we have styling for the section title. So we can align it to the left, right, or center, like that. We can choose a different color. So we can make it black, for instance, if we want. Or let's do a little bit dark gray. Choose a custom font. So you check this box, and then here you would select the font from what Shopify provides. Or alternatively, for a little bit more advanced users, if you have a manually installed font, then you can just place the HTML or the CSS code for that font right into here. Moving on, font weight. So we can change the font weight to bold. Let's turn this off so we can see the differences for now. Or thinner, like so. And then we have options for margins, top and bottom margins. So if you want, top margin isn't as important, but bottom margin is. So you can create more space between the block itself and the title. You can give it a custom size. Line height isn't as important here unless your title is very, very long and it goes down to 2 lines, so you can adjust the line height if they're too cramped or whatever. And then letter spacing, you can also add letter spacing to match the typography of your site. And then we have those same settings for the mobile version as well, so they're separated. Next, we have settings for the image. So we have 4 different types of image dimensions. So you can choose original, which is basically the original size of the image. Landscape, so it'll be cropping, as you can see. So it really does depend what image you uploaded and chose. But this basically forces the image to be landscape. Or you could take this and it changes it to square or portrait. So let's just keep this at original for now. This, only for desktop, you can select this to go to the full height of the wrapper. So it's within here. Sometimes the image, depending on the image that you put in, compared with the text, if the text is very much longer in height, then the image won't expand. So if you do full height, it will enlarge the image and create more cropping, and then they'll line up to the height of the text. Next, image position. So we have it on the left. We can choose for it to be on the right if we'd like. And then on mobile, we can choose to have it either above or below or hidden, or we don't even see it and just have that option. So next we have section image width. So if you want to have more space for the text, you can make this image smaller, or you can make it much bigger, however you'd like. And we can set the border radius of the image. We can set the border radius for mobile as well. And then we have margin. So if we want more space between the text and the image, then we can increase that. We get a little bit more space in there. And the same thing for mobile, but that obviously it's not to the sides, it's above or below. So I mentioned groups. We can, as you can see, we have a group of ingredients. So if we, and this would be considered a group from where we have a category title until the next category title. So basically from here to here is a group. And if we'd like them to be in columns instead, we can just click that and boom, we have one group here, one group here. And then we have the text block, which is at the very bottom. Now, if you remember, we have this option here, exclude from group. So right now it's at the end, so that's why it appears at the end. If we had this here, then this text text block, as you can see, is a part of this group. And so if we want this to just be excluded and just to appear below everything, we would just select that exclude from group and it would appear right over there. But let's just turn this off for now, but you know now that there's that option. Oh, and then we can also adjust the space between them, the margins, so we can make them a little bit closer together. And same thing with mobile. Next, let's style the categories. So we have we didn't add an icon yet. Maybe let's add an icon so we can see that. So active ingredients, go into here, let's select this icon. And then in inactive ingredients, like that. So now we can adjust the width of the image, so basically making it bigger or smaller. And same thing on mobile. We can change the color of the title, so let's make it white so we can see something. Next, we can have it either in line with the ingredients or above. And we can adjust the margin between the title and the ingredients themselves. Next, we can choose a custom font for the category title. The font weight, like we did before, font size, letter spacing. Let's make the font size 27, let's say, something like that. And for mobile as well. Next, we have ingredient styling. So we have these styles here. We can have them, let's give it a color so it'll be easier to see. So we have an option to keep the underline, or we can hide the underline. Underline kind of gives that option of that you can hover over it, kind of like makes it look like a link. So that's why we added this this item. And then the hover, we can also have this give a color when you're hovering over. So it's kind of a little bit easier to see what we're reading. So that's also an option. Margin between the ingredients, so we can give a little bit more space in between. And here too, we can set the custom fonts, font size, line height, letter spacing, font weight, for mobile as well. Next, we have the tooltip itself. Now, obviously, it's going to be hard to each time make a change and then hover over it to see. So we have this option to click on Preview Tooltip, and then you just see it appear here. And then we can adjust however we want. So let's say we want it on a darker color, and we can adjust the width of it. So it would be wider. Add some more padding. Not that much, like that. Increase the corner radiuses. And then we have a drop shadow effect, but actually to better see the drop shadow effect, maybe we'll make this white instead. So we can choose a drop shadow color. So obviously if you make it blue, you can see a little blue tint. And then of course it depends on how much opacity you're putting on, but you can see that it's making a difference. Like that. Let's put this back to a darker color. And if I just turn it off, then there's nothing you can see. You can really see the difference that way. Now we can work on the text. So let's make this text this dark gray color and increase the font size a little bit. The line height, so we can adjust the line height if we want it to be different than the default settings. Letter spacing, and then those three, same for mobile. And then we can go off and we can turn the preview off, and then we can see how it looks. Just like that. Moving on, we have paragraph styling. So that's for this. Paragraph, so we have an option also for an icon. We didn't add one in this one, so we can ignore that. Margin top, we can give it more space, like that. And then we can set the title to be above the paragraph instead of in line. Adjust the margins between them, like that. Let's make this white as well, the title, but we'll increase the font size, make it a little bit smaller, something like that, and the letter spacing. We have those same settings for mobile. Next, text color. And the same exact settings, font size, letter spacing, line height, and same thing for the mobile. So that's how we set up all of these. So as you can see, if we go back up here now, we can, where is it? We have a lot of settings, so sometimes it's a little bit difficult to find all of them. Where is the group here? So we can adjust the group. So we could say, hey, we want it to look like this instead. For instance, we can make this a little bit smaller. We can increase the border and all that. Image, we can say, okay, let's move this to the right. Maybe that looks better for you. We can just get rid of the image, of course, by going all the way up here and say we don't want the image. We could have something like that. And that's it. We hope that you enjoy this section. Of course, if you have any issues with it, any trouble, any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to us on the support page on the website. And thank you again.